Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to wrap a donut-shaped stone in a bezel setting, and I did also add a little circular cabachon to it. If you'd like to see how I made this pendant from start to finish, just stay tuned. Okay, I have two 12-inch pieces of 20 gauge square sterling silver wire, and it is dead soft. I'm going to be using this 8mm bead to keep my wires evenly spaced apart. And I'm going to tape these together to help keep them evenly spaced, but I want to pay attention and tape them closer to one end. My weave is going to take up a certain amount of space, and I want to try and have even lengths on each end to make my bail and embellishments with once I have the cage ready. So I'm just going to get this other base wire positioned here on my bead, and I'm going to be using some blue painter's tape to attach these together. Once I have them taped together, I'm putting them in this little clamp just for some added stability. You can omit this step if you don't have a clamp or if it's just too uncomfortable to try and hold it while weaving. Alright, so I'm going to start the weave for my cage, and I want it to end up looking like this. I want those base wires to be nice and evenly apart. This is where the bead is going to come in. As we weave the cage, the bead will help us keep the wires evenly apart so that once it's done, the edge of our donut will sit nicely sandwiched between them. So this bead is a nice little hack just for keeping the wires straight and keeping them nice and looking neat. And I'm just going to be using 28 gauge dead soft wire to weave these together. And I almost forgot to mention, you'll want to bend the tip of the wire that your bead is on. That's going to prevent the bead from falling off as we're weaving. Alright, and so I want to take my 28 gauge weaving wire and start with 11 coils on one side. Okay, so once I have my 11 coils, I'm going to come around to my other base wire, and I'm going to use my finger to kind of hold it firm as I bring it around to start my coils on this side. I'm going to use a good amount of tension to try and keep these coils even with each other. And then I'm going to coil it the same amount of times onto this opposite side. I'll continue with this pattern until it's long enough to place around our stone, and in a little bit I'll show you my primitive but effective way for measuring that. Okay, to measure my stone, I just take a scrap wire and I shave it around. And I use my little mandrel if I need to, and that's just going to help keep me nice and flush against the stone. Sometimes it can get a little squirrely with it being a circular shape and trying to keep the wire nice and close around it. And then once I have this shaped where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and bend my wires. Basically, I just want to mimic the actual shape of the cage around the stone. And then I'm going to straighten it out, and I'll just use this as my guide as I go. And then I'm just going to get back to weaving my bezel. Once I have about a 1/2 inch woven, I'll go ahead and remove the wires from the clamp. Okay, so I had to weave most of this off camera just because it was really awkward trying to weave and film it in this small little space. I'm just here at my desktop, so I just did this off camera. Sorry for anyone who likes to watch that process. Now we can go ahead and remove our bead and our tape, and we'll get to shaping the cage around our stone. All right, now I'm going to use my weaving wire just to tightly coil these base wires together, and then I can separate them and start my bail. And I'm doing a 2-2 weave for the bail, so I'm coiling my weaving wire twice around each pair of base wires, and I'll just follow that pattern all the way up as I shape my bail, and then we'll move on to the next step. Once I'm at the place where my wires meet, I'll keep weaving just the 2 middle base wires together with the 2-2 weave. I'm going to get my bend going just a little bit to check and see how far down my weave should go. I want to pull these wires through the hole in my donut to keep weaving from the front. So I'll also go ahead and snip a good length of weaving wire from the spool. Up until now I hadn't cut it off the spool because I wasn't sure exactly how much I would need at first. But now that I'm ready to pull this through, I'm going to get that wire snipped. I'm also going to pull these 2 side wires to get them out of the way. We'll be working with them in a little bit. I continued weaving just a little bit further down, and now I'm going to pull the wires through my stone, and I'll separate them a bit and keep weaving a little cage to hold the small cabachon in place on the front. Before we secure our small cabachon, we're going to bring these back wires up a bit and coil them with some weaving wire. These are going to come down over the front of the stone and help capture the small cabachon from the sides. All right, now we can put our stone in here on the front and start working the wire around to capture it nice and snug. And at this point, I'll go ahead and secure the wires around the bail, and then I'm going to bring my back wires down the front and in through the stone, and I'll finish those off with a few loops on the back. These wires will go a little wonky as you're securing them, but you can just gently adjust them back into place as you go. So I realized I should have cut my original base wires just a couple inches longer. I wanted to use them to finish the pendant off with some embellishments on the bail, but I didn't have enough length. So I cut another piece of wire and I found a place to anchor it to the bail, and then I just wrapped it around a few times and added some loops. So these wires are sitting nice and tightly against my stone on the back, and they shouldn't snag on anything when it's worn. But if you're a little nervous leaving them open like this, you can take some weaving wire and kind of sew them to the back wires. And this will close up the cage completely and guarantee that they won't come loose or get caught on anything. But mine are pretty tight and snug, so I didn't think I really needed to do that. As you can see, those wires aren't going anywhere. So just to show you what I meant about the length of my wires, this is another one I made, and as you can see, I was able to use my back wires to come up around my bail and finish the piece off with some little swirls. So that's probably something I'll do differently next time, but you just learn as you go. And here's my finished piece after I put a patina on it and polished it up a bit. You can really play around with this design and make it your own. You can definitely go bigger with it. You can alter the weave if you like. You can make the bail look different. Just let your creativity flow with it. So thanks for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this project. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you'd like to help me make more of these tutorials, please hit the like button and consider sharing on your social media, because that's really what helps my channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Also, if you follow me on Instagram, feel free to share pictures of your creations with me. I really love to see what my tutorials inspire. I just want to end by saying have a fantastic day, and remember to love your neighbor as yourself, and in all things, treat others as you want to be treated, for this is the law and the prophets. God bless you guys, and I hope to see you in the next video.